Coffee and the prostate, discovering the positive, the negative, and the real. Imagine this scene. The sun rises and the unmistakable aroma of freshly brewed coffee fills the kitchen. A steaming cup is poured, you take that first comforting sip that warms the soul, and immediately a rush of energy runs through your body. It is a habit shared by millions of people around the world, a kind of spark that allows us to start the day with more clarity and enthusiasm. However, if you are a man who has ever been concerned about your prostate health, you may have wondered, is this morning coffee helping or harming my body, particularly my prostate? As a urology specialist with more than a decade of clinical experience, I have treated a huge number of patients who come with questions about what they consume, worried about the impact these habits may have on their prostate. And among all the beverages we discuss in consultations, coffee undoubtedly takes the lead. Some fear it might intensify urinary symptoms or encourage the development of problems like benign prostatic hyperplasia, also known as BPH, or even prostate cancer. Others, on the contrary, argue that coffee could act as a protective shield, mentioning studies that highlight antioxidants and compounds with anti-inflammatory effects. It is no surprise that there is so much confusion on the subject. Coffee is a fascinating drink with more than 1,000 chemical compounds inside. Several of them appear to provide benefits, while others can be problematic depending on each person's health status. If you have ever searched for a clear answer to guide your decision about whether to continue enjoying your usual cup or consider a decaffeinated option, here you will find a precise guide. In this narrative, I will share what science truly reveals about the connection between coffee and the prostate. We will look at the potential benefits, the possible drawbacks, and how to enjoy this beverage without compromising your well-being. The love story with coffee is universal. Before diving into the scientific evidence about how it affects the prostate, it is worth pausing to consider why coffee is so cherished around the world. From the bustling coffee shops of New York City to the quiet breakfast corners of Buenos Aires, coffee connects cultures and crosses borders. In many places, it is not just about the caffeine boost. It is also a ritual full of social meaning. We sit with friends to share a cup, or we give ourselves a moment of calm before facing a busy day. Yet for men concerned about their prostate health, this daily habit raises questions. Does coffee intensify my discomfort? Should I reduce the amount to avoid consequences? These questions often linger persistently. Fortunately, science has spent many years studying these concerns, and today we have solid data that allow us to distinguish between myths and realities. Why is the prostate so important? It may not be the largest organ in the body, but its function is crucial for male health. This small, walnut-shaped gland sits just below the bladder and wraps around the urethra, the channel that carries urine out of the body. Over time, the prostate can increase in size, a condition known as BPH. It can also become inflamed, called prostatitis, or develop cancer. Among the most common symptoms are difficulty urinating, constant urgency, increased frequency, or pelvic pain. Because these conditions directly affect men's quality of life, any factor that influences the prostate, whether beneficial or risky, deserves our full attention. This is where coffee comes into the picture. The complex chemistry of coffee. If you have ever felt that sudden boost after drinking a cup, you already know the effect of caffeine. But coffee is not just caffeine. In fact, each serving contains more than 1,000 different compounds, including antioxidants and polyphenol. The scientific community has been especially interested in understanding how these elements interact with the body. First, antioxidants. These molecules help counteract oxidative stress, a process in which unstable particles called free radicals damage cells. Chronic oxidative stress is known to be involved in multiple diseases, including prostate cancer. The antioxidants in coffee, such as chlorogenic acid, may help reduce this cellular damage. Second, polyphenol. These are plant-based substances with potential anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer effects. Polyphenol influence insulin sensitivity, metabolic health, and overall levels of inflammation in the body. Since persistent inflammation is a risk factor for many diseases, including various prostate conditions, anything that helps reduce it can be considered protective. Third, caffeine. Caffeine is undoubtedly the most recognized component of coffee, whether loved or avoided. It stimulates the central nervous system, improves mood, and keeps us more alert. However, as we will see, it can also produce less favorable effects in certain organs, such as the bladder and the prostate, especially when consumed in excess. Scientific perspectives. Possible benefits. The first possible benefit is a reduction in the risk of advanced prostate cancer. One of the most hopeful findings in medical research suggests that moderate coffee consumption could slightly decrease the likelihood of developing advanced or aggressive prostate cancer. A study published in Cancer Causes and Control showed that men who drink between 1 and 3 cups daily had a lower incidence of aggressive prostate tumors. Experts suspect this effect is related to the antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds present in the drink. The second benefit is anti-inflammatory effects. Prostate inflammation can worsen issues like chronic prostatitis or accelerate the progression of benign prostatic hyperplasia. Because coffee contains substances that can moderate inflammatory pathways, it could provide a certain level of protection. It is important to remember, however, that these benefits appear to be most noticeable when consumption remains moderate. The third benefit is support for metabolic health. Another fascinating aspect of coffee is its connection to metabolic diseases, particularly type 2 diabetes. Multiple studies have shown that moderate coffee intake is associated with a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This disease, in turn, increases the chances of prostate problems, including BPH. In this way, by promoting metabolic balance, coffee could indirectly contribute to prostate health. Now, the flip side. Possible risks and drawbacks. Although studies indicate benefits, we must not ignore that coffee can also bring complications, especially in men who already face prostate disorders. This is where moderation becomes a key factor. The first risk is irritation and inflammation. Caffeine acts as both a stimulant and a natural diuretic. It increases urine production in the kidneys, which can be uncomfortable for those with benign prostatic hyperplasia or an overactive bladder. You may notice more frequent urgency to urinate or weaker urine flow if you already have urinary symptoms. Additionally, excessive coffee consumption can irritate both the bladder and the prostate, increasing discomfort in cases of chronic prostatitis. The second risk is too much caffeine. What initially seems beneficial can quickly become a problem. Consuming more than 400 milligrams of caffeine daily, roughly equivalent to 4 or 5 standard cups of coffee, can overload the body. In some men, this causes nervousness, insomnia, or digestive discomfort. When the urinary tract is already compromised by BPH or prostatitis, adding this much caffeine can worsen symptoms. The third risk is the impact on sleep. Nighttime rest is the foundation of overall health and directly affects the immune system's ability to defend the body. Poor sleep can intensify persistent inflammation, indirectly affecting prostate health. If you are used to drinking coffee in the late afternoon or evening, you risk disrupting your sleep cycle, which translates into more inflammation, increased irritability, and accumulated fatigue. Variations in impact. Why does coffee affect people differently? It is important to emphasize that the effects of coffee on the prostate vary from person to person. Several factors determine how coffee acts in the body. First, genetics. Some people, due to genetic predisposition, metabolize caffeine more slowly. This slower process can intensify negative effects on the urinary system. Genetics also influence the likelihood of developing prostate diseases, making coffee's impact more noticeable in some men. Second, overall diet. If you frequently consume highly seasoned foods, alcohol, or ultra-processed products, your bladder may already be irritated. Adding coffee to that combination can be the perfect trigger to worsen symptoms. Third, frequency and timing. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach can cause acid reflux in some people, which may also intensify urinary discomfort. Fourth, pre-existing conditions. In cases of chronic prostatitis, overactive bladder, or advanced BPH, even moderate coffee intake can worsen symptoms. Recognizing signs of excessive consumption. For men who already suffer from urinary problems, these are some indicators that coffee could be contributing to discomfort. Frequent urination. Needing to urinate multiple times during the day and night can be exhausting. While this is often common with aging, the diuretic effect of coffee can make it worse. Urinary urgency. That sudden and pressing need to use the bathroom immediately can become more intense with high caffeine intake. Weak flow. BPH already narrows the urinary channel, slowing the flow of urine. Adding the irritant effect of coffee can make the situation more uncomfortable. Pelvic pain. Constant irritation can worsen any discomfort already present in that area. If you notice that these symptoms worsen after drinking coffee, it may be time to rethink your habits. Enjoying coffee responsibly. Practical advice. Completely giving up coffee can be difficult, especially if it is part of your daily routine or social gatherings. The good news is that it is not always necessary to eliminate it entirely. There are strategies that allow you to take care of your prostate while still enjoying the taste of your favorite drink. First, moderate your consumption. Limit yourself to 1 or 2 cups a day. If you want something warm in the afternoon or evening, choose herbal teas or beverages with low caffeine content. Second, try decaffeinated coffee. Decaf retains a good amount of beneficial antioxidants, but with much less stimulating effect. If you love the taste of coffee but want to reduce the impact of caffeine, this option can be an excellent balance. Third, pair coffee with food. Drinking it alongside a meal or a small snack helps soften its impact on the stomach and bladder. This can reduce acidity and decrease irritation. Fourth, consider the temperature. Beverages that are excessively hot can irritate the mouth, throat, and even the urinary tract. Let the coffee cool slightly before drinking. Fifth, maintain good hydration. The diuretic effect of coffee can make you lose fluids more quickly. To counter possible dehydration, make sure to drink enough water throughout the day. Sixth, control timing. Avoid drinking coffee in the late afternoon or evening, as it can disrupt nighttime rest, and poor sleep promotes inflammation and increases stress levels. Natural remedies and lifestyle habits for a healthy prostate. Coffee is only one piece of a larger picture. If you want to optimize prostate health or at least reduce risks, it is useful to integrate other natural remedies and wellness routines into your daily life. Beneficial supplements and foods. Saw palmetto. Frequently used for BPH, it can help relieve urinary symptoms by reducing prostate inflammation. Pumpkin seeds. Rich in zinc and antioxidants, they have long been considered a natural support for prostate function. Green tea. This infusion is loaded with catechins, powerful antioxidants capable of protecting cells and reducing inflammation. Turmeric. Its active compound, curcumin, has proven anti-inflammatory properties. General wellness habits. First, maintain a balanced diet. Include a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. Reduce ultra-processed foods and sugary treats, which can promote inflammation and worsen prostate problems. Second, exercise regularly. Physical activity helps maintain a healthy weight, improves cardiovascular health, and is linked to better outcomes in men with prostate disorders. Third, moderate alcohol consumption and avoid tobacco. Abuse of these substances intensifies inflammation and increases the risk of various cancers, including those affecting the prostate. Fourth, attend regular medical checkups. Starting at age 50 or earlier if there is a family history, it is recommended to schedule prostate exams and discuss screening options with your doctor. A brief consultation story. To show how these recommendations work in practice, I want to share an experience with names and details changed for confidentiality. A patient of mine, whom I will call Daniel, was 56 years old and worked long hours at a computer, always accompanied by several cups of coffee. He arrived concerned about frequent urination and mild pelvic discomfort. After a complete evaluation, we discovered he had early-stage BPH. The first strategy was to adjust his caffeine intake. Instead of drinking 5 to 6 cups daily, we suggested limiting him to 1 cup in the morning and choosing herbal teas or decaf in the afternoon. We also recommended increasing water intake, reducing late-night snacks, and adding moderate walks to his routine. After a few weeks, Daniel reported needing fewer trips to the bathroom and feeling much more comfortable. By simply adjusting his consumption habits and adding some lifestyle changes, he experienced significant relief without giving up his cherished morning cup. And this is the key. Small changes sustained over time can transform your well-being. Taking care of your prostate does not mean giving up what you enjoy, but learning to find balance. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Take care of your health, listen to your body, and remember that every choice counts. See you in the next video.